Just wondering how good a place do you and the squad go into this one on the back of such an impressive and convincing win at the weekend?
Yeah, listen, the mood's really good, confidence is high, as you can imagine. It was a really important win and victory at the weekend. We done it in style, but there's also got to be a realisation that the Europa League, different competition, different level, and almost a one-off game if you like, because it's a must-win in terms of us keeping it in control, in our control, to get out of the group. So we almost have to move on very quickly from the weekend, take the positives from it, and get the boys ready physically, mentally, and also with a game plan that's going to be successful on Thursday.
In terms then of the squad tomorrow, they've given you, can I get a squad update firstly, and they've given you a nice problem because there's so many getting towards their top form at the weekend.
Squad update is really positive. We've just all had negative tests come through the night, so everyone's available from that point of view. We've got one injured out in Glenn Kamara, who's probably 50-50 as it stands. But yeah, you're right, I've got some really good, you guys will call them headaches, I call them nice issues to solve, because we've got very talented players in each position, we've got good options, we've got a good squad to pick from, and we've got a lot of people who are either in form or playing themselves back into form, so it's really exciting, and you know, as the manager of Rangers, I'm in a good place.
In light of where Brøndby are in this group, and you're expecting probably to come in the front foot tomorrow, might that play in your hands in terms of an advance to start?
Well, I think, look, we have to realise this is going to be a different environment. It'll be a full house. Spoke to Daniel Agger about the Brøndby support, how lively they're going to be and how much they're going to be up for this game. So it's going to be a real tricky tie from that point of view. I think Brøndby are in a must-win situation where they lie, and after the results at Ibrox, they've almost got nothing to lose and everything to gain. So I think they'll go for the game. I think they'll be aggressive. I think they'll come for us. So we have to take a lot of things into consideration in our preparation and our planning, and make sure that we are ready for whatever comes our way. We know it'll be a tough game. The Europa League games away from home are always a big challenge. But we've faced them a couple of weeks ago, so we know them well, and then we've done some more homework on this team individually and collectively, and then we're going into the game prepared and ready.
Tav is currently sitting on a total of 99 assists for the club. He's obviously a player you inherited, but you kept him as your captain. Have you and the coaching staff attempted to develop him to change his game in any way over the last couple of years?
We try and develop, help and support, and create an environment for all the players to thrive, to grow, to evolve. Not just James, but James is someone who's got our full trust. James is someone who has incredible moments as a footballer, assists and goals, and when he finishes his career, I'm sure he'll look back with major pride on all his numbers. But James and all the defenders know what the priority here is, and it's to keep clean sheets, it's to be tough to play against. So there's a lot of things that come around everyone's individual progress and development. So the back unit and us as a defensive unit, we know we need to be a bit tighter, a bit more stronger, and concede less goals. So it's always an ongoing thing here, to get better and to strive to improve collectively and individually.
Stephen, how much of an emphasis has been put on trying to make sure you don't concede that first goal tomorrow night?
Listen, it's something that we don't need to overthink about or over talk about. I think the players are all experienced enough, they've been around us as a staff to know what we demand, what our standards are, what the club demands, more importantly, and what it takes to be successful. I think the majority of the squad have been here and lived it and know. So we don't have to keep putting it in the players' faces and overthinking or over talking about it. We just need to go and do our talking on the football pitch and just cut out some little individual errors and just tighten up slightly from a defensive point of view. But that starts from Alfredo and Kamar and Fashion and the players at the top end of the pitch. It's certainly a collective thing. The positive thing for me is we we're showing major character, major belief, and real unity to keep fighting for results and turn stuff around. But in an ideal world, you don't want to put yourself in that place in the first place.
Hi Stephen, Flashing Sakala is obviously the story on Sunday. He gives you an option that perhaps you haven't had in these away European fixtures before, doesn't he?
Did you not watch our game at Prague?
That's what I mean. Well, yeah, it's pace and directness perhaps in a game where there might be space on the break.
Well, look, that's the reason why we made that addition into our squad. It was an area and a unit where we felt we needed something different, something that we could maybe polish up and develop, and someone who could add a real strength to our attack and play with that raw pace and power, that little bit of unpredictability. He's an incredible human being. The way he's come into the club, his smile, his demeanour, his attitude and his energy, he's lifted the whole place. We needed time to make him settle and get him used to us. We needed to get used to him, and the signs are that he's starting to really find his feet here now at Rangers, and he's a real exciting one for everyone to watch moving forward. And listen, there'll be plenty of opportunities for fashion, not just in Europe, domestically as well. And I think we're really starting to see his strengths and his consistency coming out from a training point of view, and it was no surprise that he put in the performance at the weekend that he did.
Hi Stephen, you mentioned the options you've got there at the top end of the park, and just wondering, how is that, maybe when you look at those guys in total, the numbers that you've got up there, as strong as it's been since you've been at the club, and how interchangeable are they all to be able to drop in and out?
Well, I think part of the recruitment, obviously the way we play, the system, and what we look for before we recruit, it's important that not everyone, but some of the players in the front areas are comfortable in different positions. So some are comfortable from the left and the right, some are hybrid who can play as a 10 and a 9, or a 10 that becomes a 9. We do like that rotation and that flexibility in the front positions. And if you look at Kamar, if you look at Fashion, if you look at Ryan Kent, Scott Wright, outside of Alfredo, these players are all hybrid and can play in different positions and different roles, which is very important because we want to be flexible and be able to adapt within games. So I think it's an area of our team that's still developing and still getting better. But if you look at pace and threat and goal threat, it's probably the strongest that unit's been since I've come into the club, for sure.
You mentioned after the game in Prague about the importance of the financial input in terms of competing at this level. How important then is it to qualify from this group in terms of looking ahead to the January window? These next 3 games, could that give you a bit extra to play with in terms of strengthening the squad?
Look, I think in my position I'm always aware of the financial implications. I don't think anyone else has to really concern themselves with that. In terms of the players and my staff and myself, we need to prepare and go and win the game. It's about the points. There's people at the club that'll deal with the financial side of it, but look, I think everyone's aware that European football, not only does it bring a satisfaction in terms of your own personal journey and from a fan's point of view, but it's very important for the club's resources as well. We need to keep doing as well as we can. The aim is to have European football here after Christmas, so we need to keep obviously all pulling in the right direction to try and provide that and produce it. But in terms of the financials and the numbers, no one really needs to concern themselves with it except the people at Rangers and myself, but that'll always remain private.
Hey Stephen, can I just ask you what Glenn Kamara's issue is, and also whether Ryan Kent or Ryan Jack might feature tomorrow?
Ryan Kent trained fully with the group yesterday and came through and looked pretty good. So he'll travel with us, assuming he comes through this morning's session. And obviously we'll decide on what we do in terms of selection in due course. Ryan Jack's training away. He'll have an outside chance of being involved at the weekend depending on how this game goes, but Ryan's been back in full training for a couple of weeks now. I think the international break's super important for Ryan in terms of getting a load of work in big spaces in his legs, and maybe trying to get a game behind closed doors for him to get some minutes under his belt, because he's obviously been out for a long time. So that's where them 2 situations are up to. Glenn Kamara's had a whack on his ankle. He actually had 2 kicks on the same ankle, so there's a little bit of swelling in there. There's been a big improvement overnight, which gives him that 50% chance. and we'll wait as long as we need to in terms of Glenn because he's so important. But we'll probably know at the back end of today's session or tomorrow morning whether he's going to be fit to start or not.
Morning, Stephen. Just on fashion again, obviously he's the man in the moment, but you mentioned that over the last 10 days or so he's sort of started to settle within the squad, the country. I just want to get your opinion on, is that something that we underrate, how difficult that is? I know you mentioned Cedric Eaton last year having taken a bit of time to settle. Do we as fans and football people within Scotland kind of underrate how quickly that can happen or how long it takes?
Yeah, I think we all do. I was someone who played for my local team, who lived at home with my family for the majority of my career. It wasn't until I went to LA and maybe tried a different experience, or maybe I was away with England and it's different because you're not in your comfort zone, if you like. So these players are coming from different areas of the world. Some of them come with the family, some come without the family. Cedric came during a pandemic, which came with numerous other challenges. Fashions come. Obviously, he was living in Belgium, but it's a different league. He's coming to a different country again. He never came with his family. His family are on the way, but we've had some visa and passport issues, and these are the little things that people don't see through no fault of their own. But the good thing about Rangers is we have the right people who can give them the support on and off the pitch, and you do have to be patient and give these people enough time to feel at home and feel comfortable. And it's important you don't throw them in at the wrong time, because you can also ruin someone if you throw them in the deep end and they're not ready and they're not settled, they're not used to how you play or the environment. Sometimes it can be too soon. So just a little bit of patience with certain individuals. That's what we need to be like with them.
Obviously, Brøndby has been getting some better results in the last 2 weeks. What have you seen from Brøndby since the last game, and what do you expect on Thursday?
I think we've seen a big improvement domestically in terms of results. They obviously got a real positive result at the weekend. You can see them moving up the table. I think when that happens, it breeds confidence and belief. And for us, it's you try and put yourself in their camp and think, where are they thinking? What does the game mean to them? How's their coach going to approach it? And I think he's in a must-win situation. So we expect the best version of Brøndby, the most aggressive version of Brøndby, and I think with their support and a full house, and if Daniel Agger's telling me the truth, and it's one of the best atmospheres in the world, we have to be ready for a real fascinating challenge.